I am in shock, Twins fans. This is a day I never really thought we would see, at least like in my lifetime. I just assumed that the Pohlad family would be just turning this franchise over from one generation to the next for ages upon ages. After all, financially, this has been an incredible investment for them, and they clearly treat this like a business investment. But as we hear from the team today, Pohlad family announces intent to explore selling Twins. Now, before we get ahead of ourselves, we do need to take into account that language. Explore selling. So they are not, there's nothing finalized here, but the fact that they're floating this out there to the public says a lot on how serious they are about potentially selling the team. So this is huge news. Again, I am shocked. That's my first reaction, is just being shocked. Let's focus on the news aspect first before I kind of share my reaction. As part of the statement, you can see the full statement if you go to twinsbaseball.com and read the article. There is a bigger statement. But some of the takeaways here, our goal is to be as informative as possible with the team, staff, and you, the fans. That sounds great. It would be great to be in the loop on what's going on here. And then I've underlined this part. It's our objective to find an ownership group who all of us can be proud of and who will take care of the Minnesota Twins. That sounds great. Here's sort of the bottom part I took a little offense with. After 4 decades of commitment, passion, and countless memories, we're looking forward to the future with care and intention for our family, the Twins organization, and the community we love so much. The commitment part I take offense with. As someone who really started becoming a passionate Twins fan in the very late 90s and went through all the contraction era stuff, as a very young fan who didn't understand what all that meant. And I mean, even adult fans, I think that this was over a lot of people's heads, the business of baseball. You don't have to, not most baseball fans who love baseball, love the Minnesota Twins, love the game of baseball. A lot of the stuff that was going on business-wise was over a lot of our heads. And again, me and my generation being so young at that time, a lot of us having just kind of rediscovered discovered the Twins for the first time because they had become so exciting with so many young players. For the first time in ages, it was starting to be exciting to be a Twins fan again, and then it was being threatened to taken away from us. And the really frustrating part at the time, and fans of my generation and older still hold this against this family, was that Carl Pohlad was way too willing to go along with Bud Selig's plan to contract 2 teams, including the Minnesota Twins, the Montreal Expos being the other one. So that's why that commitment part, the 4 decades of commitment to this organization and community, I take issue with that. My next thoughts are, oh God, is someone going to come in here, buy the team, and move it? Because if there's one thing that's good about the Pohlad family, they are very Minnesota-based. It's hard to imagine them or being motivated to move the Twins out of Minnesota at this point. Again, Carl Pohlad was so willing to possibly contract the team, so anything is on the table. But the lesson is that thank goodness for Target Field in its long lease that is on the books right now. What kept the Twins in Minnesota was that they had a lease to play in the Metrodome, and judges ruled that the Twins had to play out that lease. And that kind of changed the whole plan of contraction. The Twins wouldn't be in Minnesota anymore. I'm very confident that the Twins would have been contracted had they not had a lease in the Metrodome. So that is a huge piece of the puzzle. When we think about this potential of the Twins moving, I have an article down below that's from January that makes mention that the Twins are going into their 15th opening day in April of a 30-year lease. So there are 16 more seasons of the Target Field lease. If we apply this same logic that happened to the Twins during the contraction era with their lease with the Metrodome, I think we can safely assume that the Twins are going to be held accountable for being in Minnesota in Target Field through that 30-year lease. We can rest assured that the Twins aren't going anywhere. And really, I think that means anybody who would be motivated to buy the Twins and move them, I think that's really going to keep them out of this possible sale. At least that's wishful thinking. Now, back to the language that they're using and how these things might turn out. Ask a Minnesota Timberwolves fan. when their owner appears to be selling the team and how that might play out differently. It was assumed at one point Glenn Taylor was going to be selling the Minnesota Timberwolves. They are no longer for sale. He has kept the Timberwolves. I'm not a huge Wolves fan, to be honest, so I haven't been in the know on that whole story. But it's been a saga. It's been pretty crazy. So just because that's kind of the thing I want to hammer is just because the Twins are exploring, the Pohlad family is exploring selling the Twins, doesn't mean that this is a shoo-in to happen. It's a be careful what you wish for situation, possibly too. I do think more than likely this will be a positive thing, but it's always possible it doesn't go that way. And it's, you can look back and see how popular the sale from Calvin Griffith to Carl Pohlad and how popular Carl Pohlad was in the early days. This was in 1984, I think, that sale happened. And of course, the Twins won the World Series in 87 and 91. So fairly shortly after that, the Twins were winning World Series. So Carl Pohlad was really hailed as a popular figure for a long time. And obviously that has worn off over many decades. This is years ago now. And obviously 1991 was a long time ago. That kind of fanfare isn't going to carry forward. We can't keep pointing all the way back to 1991 at this point. So I understand why the Pohlad family, kind of that shine has gone from them. And again, for me personally, that contraction era is a big part of that. Again, they are not the worst owners in baseball. They're not the worst owners in pro sports. So it's always possible someone could come in and treat this even more as a business and be even more cheap. There's a sliver of sports owners who treat their teams like a fun kind of investment project to try to win and not really make money and just almost like a social thing. The majority of the rest of them are kind of villains, they look at it like the Pohlads look at it, is how I would say. So, I welcome a change. I think it's going to be positive, but you never know. Again, it could be a be careful what you wish for situation, but that's my reaction. Again, my main thing is just shock that this is. I just assumed the Pohlads would be owning the team forever and ever and ever, essentially. So, but that's my thoughts. That's my opinion. Let me know what you think about this. We shall see. Let me know what you think.